Yeah. That's, okay, we are reconvening. And we are moving on to departmental reports. City manager?
We'll continue to keep you posted and the community posted on developments in relation to COVID-19, and we are continuing with the community development director background. So we just had to reschedule that for certain reasons. So just want to let you know that it is still moving forward.
Okay. Teresa? About our workshop, is that being rescheduled?
Oh, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. So our workshop for next week, yes, we can do, Dr. Rao definitely would like to either reschedule, or if you prefer, I can go ahead and facilitate the discussion
The goals, you know, or
with the
council
budget
goals.
workshop, priority setting goals.
we have
At this
to-
point, we could probably push it out a couple of weeks and reconsider.
This is to help with the budget
Correct.
for July, so we still do have a couple of weeks, right? We got some time?
We could look towards late April.
Because I know we're not going to ICSC now. I don't think you guys are going to your ICSC.
Ours council before
Isaac, would
yours.
that work?
Yeah, we're both canceled, so we won't be missing that council meeting, so we'll have another council meeting.
Yeah, we push it out. It's not going to hurt too much as far as the budget process. We're still working through our labor sheets. We're going through the process, so.
I'm good with pushing it out, just, you know, because
Let's
of
just get
this
some-
uncertainty. of what's
Some
going on.
future dates for us to reconsider?
Yes, we can send you, does the week, yes, we'll send you some dates.
Yeah,
some dates.
you guys need to check with her and see, yeah. Is that it, Teresa?
Yes, thank you.
City attorney?
Nothing to report, Mr. Mayor.
Isaac, I don't know what title you have, ACM, finance?
Thank you. Just a couple items. I am going to turn it over to Joey. He's going to give you a Rule 20 update. I do want to touch base with two things. Measure P, as you're aware, should be scheduled by now. I have pushed it off because the amount of funds that were available have now been exhausted. I'm closing out the bank account as we speak. They'll give a final interest allocation for the last quarter, which is where we're currently at. So I'd like to consolidate all that information into one report. So the Measure P will happen. It will occur as far as the meeting. I'm just pushing it off so it can be one consolidated report that we can issue out the whole thing. Second thing, as you're aware, with the coronavirus, we are having some stock issues, to put it lightly. I am tracking that and monitoring it as we go forward to understand why that's a major factor. One, obviously, sales tax and what those implications will be. Two, our pension. There is a direct impact on investments. Two, our unfunded liability. When it comes to something to this meaner, it's really just monitoring it, where we're going. You won't really feel the impacts right away. It will take some time for that to start to come through. But we will continue to monitor it as financial aspects to make sure we understand what that looks like. If it continues to grow, you will see that conversation within the budget conversations going into the next fiscal year and what those implications, those impacts could be on how that looks on our future. So I just want to keep you aware that, finance is looking at that. At this point, I'll go ahead and turn it over to our city engineer.
Mr. Mayor, members of Council, I've continued my research on the Rule 20A and Rule 20B thing being presented by the CPUC. As a recap, CPUC is proposing to what they call sunset or dissolve the Rule 20A program and simply go with a modified Rule 20B program. So I don't want to go through the whole 4-hour deal I sat through, but in a nutshell, okay, so in a nutshell, Rule 20A's money is a portion of every taxpayer's bill is set aside, and they give a yearly allocation based on population to every city, every county, every jurisdiction. The way it works is this allocation, I believe we get around $55,000 a year to City of Selma, goes into this imaginary pot of money. The money's not actually there. It just, essentially, it's monopoly money. if and when the city of Selma, for example, comes up with a project, they want to underground some power lines from A to B. PG&E will then go out and get a loan and complete the project. That money is then charged to all the ratepayers throughout the entire PG&E area. So not just in Selma, over the whole state. So right now, the same goes for all the other cities, mostly large cities, very few small cities, counties actually are using this program. We now have the ability to do so because of what you guys passed. So San Francisco says they want to do a project. We're paying for a portion of San Francisco. We're paying for San Francisco's project. And if you don't use it, well, you're just paying for other projects in other cities. Does that make sense? So the CPUC wants to eliminate that program and go to a Rule 20B, which essentially does away with, spreading it out over a larger area and only has to do with the local agencies. So they want to, this is just I'm going to go to the important slides. I got some notes here. So they went through a bunch of reasons. This is all the CPUC going through reasons why 20A is not equitable anymore. It's large unused work credit balances. Again, most cities aren't utilizing these funds. Fresno utilizes them, Los Angeles, Sacramento, San Francisco, a lot of the bigger cities. Most smaller cities are not using them.
Can we sell our credits?
Yes, you can. You can trade credits as part of this program, as part of the Rule 20A program, but if they get rid of it, sunset it, no. Just some of the reasons. I can give you access to this thing. It's quite lengthy, so I'm just going to kind of hit the key points for you guys, if that's okay. So here, large unused work credit balances. Again, this is monopoly money. This isn't real money sitting in account. This is money that PG&E and these utility companies have the ability to borrow against. So they would borrow, and then it would show up on the bill. It doesn't show up on there now. It's only for current projects or past project that they're still paying for. Unregulated work credit trading. Some of the bigger cities are trading their credits to complete projects that they wouldn't have normally had. That could be a big benefit to the city if
Do we have enough material? What we have, $1 million?
no, we have close to two with we have like 1.75, but you can also borrow up to 5 years in advance, so we can get up to essentially $2 million as of today. And a lot of cities do that. If they do a project, they borrow 5 years ahead, and then typically PG&E's backlog is so lengthy, you can't get the project started before then anyway. So it makes sense. What slides do I want to go to? Inequity, winners and losers. So again, just the major cities are using this program. Smaller cities aren't. We just passed a resolution where we can start applying for projects now that we're on the correct list. I wanted to go to 15. So if they did get rid of the Rule 20A program, it would go to Rule 20B. Which means, again, each municipality would have to pay for it just within their jurisdiction. So to do a $2 million project in Selma, for example, that would be a big bill on each person's tax or PG&E bill. There's a little portion of it that goes to Rule 20A currently. So to do one big project within a smaller city, it kind of hurts the smaller cities.
Who's sponsoring this? The big
CPUC
cities?
is.
CPUC?
CPUC is sponsoring this.
Is there support in the Assembly and the Senate for this?
I
don't know.
We have a public comment period, which is why
Yeah.
we're soliciting information from you.
I think they extended, but we just had this PowerPoint last week. This big webinar, state webinar.
Do we know when this is all going to come out?
No, because they keep changing things. There's a lot of questions asked, like what happens to the tax bill, if this goes away. Well, we don't know. And there's a lot of we don't knows. The whole presentation was primarily why the Rule 20A is not good, but they couldn't answer a lot of the people's questions. So basically, I've talked to City of Fresno, City Clovis. Both of those guys are against eliminating the Rule 20A program. City of Fresno currently uses it, and they get a lot of their underground projects done. And as I mentioned before, you don't get a lot of bang for your buck because PG&E is doing the work. So it costs, 3-4 times what it would normally cost a private contractor to do the same job. But it's there, and we can use it, and we borrow against it, and it goes across a larger pool of people, so we can get, everybody's tax bill stays smaller.
You mentioned earlier we could sell these or trade them to other cities.
Yeah, and I don't have a lot of information on how that works. So we're just getting started this program, but I can certainly find out. So I guess I'm kind of needing some direction on.
So you would have to comment on this by the end of the month, and that's why we're bringing it to you this evening, because we won't have another council meeting before the comment period is complete. And the city, I think, from a staff point of view, I think we feel that keeping the project, just like the other cities like Fresno do, keeping 20A is better for the city than just, not.
20B will favor the bigger cities. I mean, look at
Correct.
Fresno. They're a big city compared to us, and they don't even want it
They
because
don't want
they
it.
see how
No.
it's
Had a nice
unfairly
long
biased
conversation.
towards the large cities. Why would we want it?
Yeah.
It seems common sense to just want to keep 20A.
So here's what would happen with the Rule 20B, is it would be a tiered rate program. But again, it's only within the local jurisdiction, so it'd be a significant increase on someone's bill if they hit tiers 2 and 3 as well.
Is there any motivation to get PG&E moving a little faster on this? Like maybe use outside contractors to do some of this work? so
No,
it'd be
that's one of the
meaningful?
other, there's a slide in here. That's one of the other factors that CPUC is saying that they want to get rid of 20A is because the huge increase in costs by PG&E and some of these utility companies to complete the projects. You're looking at a 45, 50% increase over a number of years for PG&E to do the work versus having it subbed out to a private contractor. But it still is better to have it, in our opinion, staff's opinion, than not.
So Joey, you need direction to either
Yeah.
go with 20A or proceed to 20B.
Well, at this point, all we can really do is just comment to the CPUC and say whether we're for or against it. But there's still a lot of stuff up in the air that they haven't answered questions on for us.
Right.
So I just need some sort of direction on how council wants to proceed.
So both programs really don't benefit a small city, like Selma.
Well, no, you don't
we
get a
have
lot
to
of
use
bang.
20A.
Yeah,
and
Rule 20A
20B
certainly
just
does
it.
give you, it spreads the cost of the project out over essentially the state versus, or PG&E's territory versus a $2 million project just being funded by local residents is a big
I would
difference.
say 20A is slightly better than 20B, because at least it spreads it out over the state instead of our area
We don't
having
use
to
either one.
bear. We don't use either one, but if we were to use one, we'd probably use 20A before 20B, in my opinion. I
And
would
I-
go with 20A.
Yeah, and 20B, I think, is, I'm not positive on this, I think 20B is still has to be completed by by PG&E. So,
Well, so
no
you
matter
don't
what,
get-
it's got to
don't
be
get
by
outside of
PG&E
that either.
forces.
You still have that huge cost structure.
Mhm.
The devil you know is better than the devil you don't.
Yeah. So I would support 20A.
I would
Is this a
support
consensus item,
Yeah. It's not on the agenda, it's just a report.
20A?
And again, we just, it came up just last week, so we didn't have a chance to get it on everything.
Yep. He just wants to know consensus.
Yeah,
Before the
ideally,
next meeting.
20.
20A.
28.
20A.
Until we get all those questions answered, I think we should stay with 28.
all right, I'll keep monitoring.
So all those unknowns get answered.
There's
you know.
still a lot of unknowns. Another unknown is what's going to happen, like I said earlier, what's going to happen to that difference in that rate on every person's PG&E bill. And the city engineer for the city of Fresno is under the impression that they want to increase rates, but if they can increase rates, but get rid of that Rule 20A fee, and there's no difference in your bill, no one's going to notice
Oh.
their stance.
What I'm worried about, Joey, is, okay, we choose one, and like earlier, I said, well, bigger cities benefit from it, and we won't benefit from it, and we'll be sure our costs and our PG&E bill will be increased to offset these projects, but we won't see no projects here in our town. So, I mean,
I'd
We-
like to
Maybe
know
the
more about
savings.
selling those credits too back if we're never going to use them.
You know.
If we could get some return for
I'll
those,
have to dig into that some more.
like cap and trade, something like that.
I'll find out how that works.
By a
I mean,
private, have a
Get a
private.
construction project coming.
yeah, I'd rather have the citizens benefit for their dollar than invest in something they're not gonna get. But you'll keep us informed.
Yeah.
Well, just one comment. With the Rule 20A, now that you passed a resolution, we can start utilizing those funds. We have started to look and identify projects. So now that we can move forward, if it doesn't go away, we can actually start utilizing these funds. Again, as he stipulated, it's not going to go very far, but doing something is better and utilize those funds.
And you can utilize the funds like 5 years ahead of time, which is how long it takes them to get to your project. So you can apply for the use of those funds, right?
Well,
Sounds
we
like
can just
that's
put together a scope of project with our projected stream that we
at
will
that
get.
time when they consider it.
Well, we still have the $2 million in the account, and they intend to phase out 20A over a 10-year period. So we still can get some projects going now over the next couple of years. At least get them on the books so that we're in the waiting list for
Yep.
PG&E to get them done.
Be in the queue, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Right.
Thank you. Is that it, Isaac, for you? Fire chief?
Just real quick, update on EMS. The ambulance is just about ready to go. Our personnel are being hired and finalizing the hiring process this week. We had one more item that needs to be put in the ambulance, that's the radio. But it's been equipped, the painting, actually the wrap, graphics have all been completed. So we are planning on being up and running March, I believe it's 30th, which would be the beginning of our next pay period.
Yeah.
And hopefully, with no further delays, we'll be set to go.
Where's
And
it
then,
gonna be parked, Chief?
I'm sorry?
Where's it going to be parked?
Station 1 downtown.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And another quick update on FEMA. At this meeting, you approved our purchasing of our new SCBA's. Last week, working with Townsend, we sent in 2019's grant, which I know it's a little late, but they're a little bit behind. And we'll be asking for 2 heart monitors. Several of our heart monitors that our paramedics carry on our fire engines right now are basically becoming obsolete and outdated. So we're going to see if we can get some FEMA funds to replace 2 of those. Thank you.
Police chief? Anything to report? Yep. You're the police chief.
Last week.
Yeah, I want to start by saying thank you to Mayor Pro Tem Guerra, Mayor Franco, and Council Member Robertson for sharing your time with me. Very, very valuable. Spent about 5 hours with you guys, total. But it helped me out a lot in understanding.
Separately, not together.
Not together. Not together. Sorry.
You'd have to arrest us.
And then Mr. Trujillo, Mr. Avalos, whenever you guys are good to go, I'm ready to roll.
We might be.
Go
there
in the
this
car, we can go drive around the city, whatever you want to do.
week. No, I'm okay with it. Go around
Just
the
make
car.
sure you take me to
No
Sal's.
problem.
But thank you, I appreciate it, I really do, it helped me out. And like I've told some of you already, I'm looking at the structure of the department, I'm looking at the teams, I'm trying to figure out if we have the right officers in the right positions there, and to best serve the public. Of course, there's going to be promotions coming up, sergeant, lieutenant. I'm looking at that now, how that's going to happen. The really good thing I found by being there, and you guys may know about this more than I do, but we have an excellent, similar to baseball, a farm system where we bring officers in. They start off as reserve officers, and even before that, volunteers, and then cadets. Not cadets, but explorers. Explorers also. And then we support them through the academy, and then they come on as a reserve, and then they roll right into police officer. So that system's in place. I'm not going to have to do a lot with that at all. So I'm looking at that right now. This week, I'm going to try to this week meet with some of the chiefs in the other agencies. Reedley, they're similar in size to us. Reedley, Sanger, my partners at the chief at Parlier, so I'm going to go there. probably Kingsburg, and just see how their structure is. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but Sanger changed their entire structure of their department. So I had talked to that city manager before, well, around the same time I applied for Selma. And so I'll probably go in and talk to him, just to see why they changed it, what's more effective, and if that's something we need to look at here. So I'll be doing that pretty soon. We hired last week Reserve Officer Anthony Yanni as a regular officer, and I know him from the police academy. Outstanding cadet. In fact, I gave him an award when his class graduated for most inspirational cadet in the class. So I asked everybody here, all the leaders in the organization, what do you think of Yanni? He's been coming out a lot as a reserve and spending his time, and they loved him. So we are very fortunate to bring him on. But again, that's he was here as a reserve already, working with us already, so he's in our system, so it works really well. I was very happy that we got him. And Isaac mentioned the homeless operation tomorrow. I'll be there also on the operation. I've been going out there every day. I went out there twice today because of the rain. We talked about it in our meeting this morning. I drove all the way out there, all the way out to the pond, but that was at 1:30, and I don't know if you were outside. It was pouring, so just before the meeting, but an hour before this meeting, I went out there again, and it was a little mushy, but I could get all the way out there. And we were concerned about the containers. I was thinking they were small dumpsters. They are gigantic. They're as long as this room. So Public Works already put those out there. So even if it was too wet to bring them out with the vehicle, we could leave them there and get them when it's dry. So that's going to be good. There's huge encampments out there. They're really, really big. One is probably like 1,100 square feet. It's like a house, built up with tents, but they're pretty big, so it'll be good to get them out of there tomorrow. And I checked on the sobriety checkpoints. We talked about that. So the issue is our trailer needs to be painted. So Nestor has that, and he has had it for a while, and I'll check on him. But the other part of that is that the officers selected to go to the training have not gone yet, and I had the training lieutenant check, and of course it's put back now because of COVID-19, which is impacting all of society now, but they're going to go as soon as possible. And in that, because you guys brought it up, and I checked on it, I found out we have a grant. So right now it's the Edward Burns grant. We have about $36,000 in that grant. So that's going to be used for the checkpoints when we get to them. Also, gang operations, going after wanted people in our city, and gangsters. And we also can use it for events such as the Raisin Festival I was told about. I guess we incur about $8,000 of overtime each year, so it could be used for that too. So that will be coming in the future. And then I just wanted to cover really quick some significant arrests by the department here recently of gangsters, because there's quality of life issues, right? Like abandoned vehicles. The mayor and I were driving. He was showing me the city, and we drove into a small development, and there was an abandoned Corvette there, like a 1975 Corvette, and it had spider webs all over it. So we drove by, we commented on it, then a gentleman stopped us on our way out, and he said, hey, my parents live there. That vehicle's been there for years. Can you get it out of here? So we did, and it's gone. But there's gang issues here, of course, and there's quality of life issues, right? That is a big issue. That is a big issue, too. So please come to us if you have that, and you have been already. I've been getting that through Teresa, and also directly from you. We'll get rid of it. It's very important to the community. I understand that. I see it myself here. So we'll take care of those too. So just quickly, some gang arrests here. On March 6th, officers stopped a vehicle where it was this McCall and Floral about 11 p.m. at night, and there were 3 gangsters in the car. And in that car, they got a pump shotgun, pistol grip shotgun, and a pillowcase. So These are good arrests. These are significant arrests. What are they doing with that shotgun? You know what they're going to do, right? They're going to do a shooting. They're ready for a shooting, you know, or if they run into the rivals, they're ready. So excellent arrests there. Let's see. And 2 of these I put out to the media. So I think part of the issue with Selma, from what I've seen just having media background, is we do a lot of good stuff here, but who knows about it, right? If you don't put it out to the media, nobody hears about it. So on 2 of these, I did press releases on them. So this other one, I don't know if you've seen it or not, there's a shooting, May 17, 2019, gang shooting, I'm turned around here, 2800 block of C Street, is it this way? Yeah, it's this way, huh? Gang shooting, cars were shot up, the house was shot up, 1 person was hit by gunfire. The investigators developed some suspects. Ruben Robles was one, and he was arrested in September. And then on March 9th, this other suspect, Jalen Sandoval, he fled out of state. He came back, and he was in Porterville when the marshals got him and the ACT team. So that solved that, right? We got those suspects in custody, did a shooting in Selma. So that was put out to the media. Then Saturday night, the officer I was talking about, Yanni, he stopped a car. Where was this? Nebraska and DeWolf. And Sereno gang members, 3 of them, were in the car, and he got a loaded handgun in the glove box. So those are really good arrests. I'm going to push the officers to do more of that. I'm totally behind that. So whenever they do that, they're going to get a commendation, and they're going to hear from me that that's good work. So that's going to happen more often here. And we'll have gang operations too. And the last thing is, it was raised, actually a lady called me today about her son was killed in a homicide, but I couldn't make out her phone number. I tried to track it down, but it was on C Street here. She said 23 or 2800 block of C Street. And I was also asked by someone else about homicides, right? That there's no update on homicides. Sometimes, if you ever have any question at all about anything, I'm very open and transparent, so you can ask me. You know, of course, there's times when it's correct to go through the city manager, who then directs it to me. But I'm very open with things. So if I can talk about it, I will. But understand there are times I cannot talk about it. And this is one of those times. But you'll see later why. But right now, I just can't put that out. But I checked on all the homicides, and all but one of them, there's an outcome to, a positive outcome. So, yeah, I just wanted to give you an update on what I'm doing now. And if you have any questions at all at this time, I'm open for them.
Have you done anything with Crime Stoppers?
I have. In my past, I have. Now, I asked the other day, because I was doing the press release, and in my press releases at Fresno PD, I always put in there to notify Crime Stoppers or remain anonymous, and I provide the number in there. Now, I haven't done it with these 2 yet, but I usually put that in them.
So they're a valuable resource to use for tips?
Absolutely, and they remain anonymous. So, yeah, that's a good thing to put out there.
How about these gun trade-ins where cities have people who drop off guns? Is that a good thing to do?
We've never done it in Fresno. I've heard about it and read about it. It seems like it would be a good thing to do if we want to look into that. Yeah, it does to me. Anything else?
No.
That's
Is you good? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
By the way, I saw the chief working on a Sunday, driving up and down the streets, and
That's good stuff.
good job, Chief. Mr. Kirshner.
Mayor Franklin, Mayor of the City Council, I just want to give you some quick update. Some of our programs we are postponing, so you're probably around the community. Right now, we're working on discussing Tarzan with the delaying the performance. We're very fortunate the next 3 weekends we didn't have a performance at the Art Center. So it's very difficult when you've already paid for playwrights and you have everybody rehearsing. So it's kind of a good timing, even though it's an unfortunate incident. And so we're working on those. I do want to let you know that the Smart Center is going to be shutting down for a while. Boys and Girls Club is just doing some individual programs, so they're going to also be kind of putting everything to a halt, especially with the schools out. Little League postponed their opening ceremonies coming up this weekend. Girls softball at Schaefer Park postponed their opening ceremony this last 2 Saturdays ago. So everybody's kind of following the same page. Unfortunately, the programs will be affected. But we are going to discuss some rentals tomorrow, how people use our parks, and that has a big impact on those who have already planned some things. We're following Tulare, we're following Reedley, we're following Sanger. I've got information from Kerman, I've got information from Dinuba, so kind of to see what everybody else is doing to see if we're on the same page and we're not kind of out in left field by ourselves. But you will see a lot less action. I've already emailed you. I came back from Long Beach on Thursday. We did close the senior center on Friday, so we were able to make a lot of phone calls, get a hold of seniors. We also went through Gabriel from NV Transportation, who was very helpful. And so when seniors called on Friday morning, they notified the seniors that to call the center, it's actually closed. So that helped a lot. So seniors weren't being driven there and then realized, hey, it's closed. So
They could still get rides, right, with MV?
they can still get rides. And then to the center, we're working on rides. We're also working on seniors who can't get a ride. They can pick up a cold sandwich, like we mentioned earlier, to try to at least get some seniors who need the food. There's a lot of programs in the works that we're still going to be working on and coming to a decision next day or two. On the good side, I do want to compliment the community fund from Walmart. Karen Foster provided $5,000 last year, and just Friday notified us we're getting another $5,000 from Walmart. So $1,000 will go to Public Works. $2,500 will help make some more improvements to the playground equipment at Peter Ringo, and then $1,500 will go to the police department for their Police Explorers program too. So if you see Karen, she's very helpful. That's $10,000 in 8 months that I've applied for on a regular basis for 8 years and knows. So I'm glad she's on board. And then with this, Shane and I were in Long Beach for the California Park and Rec Society. So Selma received the Parks Make Life Better Healthy Play Initiative presented to the City of Selma, Peter Ringo Park from the playground equipment. So we were one of the 31 cities in the state to receive that funding for playground. So they gave us a nice class award. So it'll be out here in the lobby.
It's nice.
Good job.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I can move on to council reports. Alphabetically, Mr.
Okay.
Avalos?
No, today, unfortunately, I had to go to a funeral today. Unfortunately, one of my family's neighbors passed away, so we went. And, of course, it rained on us, but it happens. And also, I went to the doctor today. I had to go after the funeral, I had to go to the doctor. Believe it or not, I got a good bit of health. Thank goodness. According to my wife, I thought I was sick, but I wasn't. But also, I want to thank the Selma Healthcare Board for allowing cleanup on the city of Selma. They hired these individual to clean up city of Selma, the alleys, and because I know that beautification doesn't pick up the big refrigerators and washing machines, but the Selma Healthcare Group hired this individual to clean up the alleys and pick them up, and they did it and kind of spruce up the community. At the same time, we're working with some viruses in our community, so this is one of the options to clean up our community, and I thank Joe patrolling the area. I seen you, Joe, but you didn't see me. I'm undercover. I'm undercover guy, but once again, when a crisis in our community take place, and I thank the people in the city, workers and the staff and the city council working together we're going to get past this. I know we are. We survived the swine flu, the Asian flu, the Hong Kong flu, the SARS. We're going to survive this. Trust me, we're going to survive this. One thing about the civilization we're on top of the food chain, guys. We are the protectors of the planet. So we are going to get past this, and we're going to survive this. And I know by working together communication and doing the right things, wash your hands, everything. If anybody's sick, stay home. Simple things in life that will prevent this thing from spreading, and we'll contain it. Trust me. And Chief, once again, update on the CBC situation, and I thank the council for a meeting tonight, because most council people are staying home, but we're the brave ones, I guess. but it's good that we do this together, because we know when crisis takes place, we stand together, and by staying together and getting the job done, we get it done, guys. And I thank you guys. And that's all I gotta say.
Thank you, Jim.
No problem.
Councilman Robertson?
So I attended the Measure S meeting here at City Hall. A couple weeks ago, I attended their Ringo Park Playground ribbon cutting, thanks to Mike Kirshner and Shane Farrell, who put his heart and soul into it. You could tell with his speech, it was really heartfelt. It was nice having all the kids come up too during the talks by the council. I attended 2 Selma Healthcare District meetings. Many thanks, as Councilman Avalos said, to the district for hiring the folks to clean up the alleys. If you get a chance, drive by the alleys. They're really looking great, on the west side as well as the A, B, C, and D streets. Looks really good. I hope they stay like that. It's really nice. It just shows pride. They were going down one alley, and somebody saw them and started going out and working on their yard. It lit a match, it was nice. It gets people taking pride, and they already had pride, but it just, when you see, it's contagious, isn't it? When you see blight, when you see an ugly, a bunch of sopas, it's like, it takes the air out of you. When you see a nice yard, when you see a nice alley, it gets you excited. It gets you enthused about doing your thing as well. The second meeting featured a presentation by the director of the Fresno County Health Department, David Palmaville. That was, I think, a result of their lawyer's connection with him. He came out and said some very good things, and I think a lot of us cities are following the lead of the health department. So that was very positive. And again, thank the healthcare district for allocating that $50,000 for, at this point, education about COVID-19, along with partnering with the city in the future on that. I think education at this point will help keep the panic level down just by having that education out there. And hopefully, the more information we have on it, the better we'll do at writing this out, doing the right things, and mitigating this fast-moving illness. I attended the St. Patrick's fundraiser at Premier Home for the fundraiser was for the Boys and Girls Club. Appreciated Chief Gomez meeting with the Mayor Pro Tem and I. It was really good discussion. Thanks for your time. It went longer than I thought, but we had a lot to talk about, so it was really good. I renewed my CPR certification last week. The chamber had a really affordable class at the Fire Department Training Center, $25 for members. You can't find that anywhere else. Rose and I did that. And we had an emergency at the animal shelter a couple days later, so where we actually activated EMS. So it was helpful to have that kind of training. I didn't actually, do any CPR, but I had to keep my head about me and respond to an emergency, so that was important. Speaking of second chance, the rabies clinic on March 28th is canceled, so we won't be having that at the shelter. And finally, crisis doesn't create character, it reveals it. Been hearing that, and it really looks like it. You can see it. COVID-19, it really just presents the opportunity to do the right thing in these situations, like when you're at the store. Don't buy everything on the shelf. Other people need it too. There's no need to panic. But, I think we really can show who we are as individuals, and we can look out for ourselves while we also look out for the community. And let's just use it as an example, to work together on this, which will ultimately, show that we can get through it by ourselves and also as a group. I think it's really important to remember that.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott. Councilman Trio?
Just attended the SKF board meeting last week. I have some interesting information. Our city manager is working on, maybe we can get a point where we can discuss it with our council. Attended an SBA meeting. We determined we put on the Selma Music Festival 2 times a year. We determined they would cancel and move our event, that April 18th event, We do generally bring about 3,000 to 4,000 people, but we're moving that, postponing that, and till further notice. I'd also like to thank the health board for doing everything they do, that they've done. But I'd more importantly like to thank the people of the city of Selma that pays into their property taxes, that gives the ability to the Selma Health Board to be able to do this. The residents of this community pay from their property taxes, and I really want them to know that the health board's doing their job, and I thank you guys. Aside of that, I'm good.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Okay, I also attended the St. Patrick's fundraiser with it was hosted by Gerald Hayes at Premier Homes, and all the benefits did go to the Boys and Girls Club. I also attended the Ringo Park ribbon cutting, which was very near and dear to my heart because that was very personal for me. That's a playground where I grew up, and I just love seeing the kids' faces when they got to get on the playground. It was amazing. So thank you, Shane, again, and thank you for all Public Works, Mike, for everything you guys do. That was amazing. I also met with Chief Gomez. Again, we talked about serious issues that we have in the department and along with crime, and we had a really great talk. So thank you again, Chief. Other than that, I also attended the healthcare district meeting. Again, it's always great when we always can come together and especially collaborate and finding funds where we can help each other out. That means a great deal, not just for people that are underprivileged, the elderly that may need some food, like Mike and I talked about. You know, they would like some warm meals instead of a bag. Maybe we can kind of think of a situation we can help out in that scenario.
The only solution with the way the virus and the policy is written is 9 people or less. Unfortunately, based on the funding from EOC and how we receive the meals, is we're not allowed to go meals would be hot. It has to be the cold meals.
Right.
So.
Well, everything you do, even if it's a cold meal, it's
Yeah.
a meal. But thank you again.
Sure,
Mike.
thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Jason, I had a lot on my plate and everything was canceled in 38 hours, everything was canceled. I did attend a conference call today with the city manager over the T-Mobile. So they're moving forward with that after they settle their lawsuit, and they're just going for one final approval before they can get going. I also went to the Boys and Girls Club fundraiser, St. Patrick's Day. Kudos to Gerald Hayes, who continually gives to the community that he serves. Great job by him. And one thing about this, to touch on what Councilman Robertson was saying about not having to go buy everything, just buy what you need and leave the rest for your neighbors. Also, if you see any type of unreasonable markup, the Fresno DA is prosecuting businesses that mark up in times of emergency. They're only allowed to go up 10%. So if you see anything like that, take a picture, call the DA's office, and they will be cited by the DA for taking advantage of the community during the crisis. And then, Teresa, I also spoke with the manager at Walmart about some type of programs that other large retail chains are doing to help the seniors and the disabled people, anticipating that this is a long duration of self-quarantine that we're going through, about making, when they go to restock in the future, making it more accessible for seniors and stuff. So she's aware of it, but I told her you'd be following up with her to get her feedback on that. And I'll give you her contact information after the meeting. Okay, and then basically, one more thing. I noticed most of the Bay Area went dark, both on the county and the municipal level. I noticed City of Kingsburg, I talked to Michelle Roman today, they're doing 100% teleconferences. So I don't know what we have on our next agenda, but we might want, being that there is no ICS, we might want to cancel it if nothing warrants immediate action by council. But if you can keep council posted on that as we approach that date.
Yes, we can go ahead and at this point, if council would like to, I think we could accommodate that. If you would like us to give you an update later on in the
Before.
week, we can do that as well.
I think we need before, we need an update, because who knows?
Yeah,
Who knows what's gonna happen?
as we approach, if
3
there's an
weeks.
emergency like this declaration or something we have to do.
'Cause we have 3
Certainly.
weeks before the next meeting.
Yeah,
All this happened like in 3 days.
Yeah.
They may go away in 3,
Yeah.
hopefully, but let's see.
so just keep an eye on it, and if it's not warranted, call us, or if there's something, just keep us posted.
Okay.
Right. And with that, I will move on to oral communications. Notice to the public, at this time, any member of the public may address the city council regarding any item which the council has jurisdiction. No action or discussion will be taken on any item not on the agenda. Issue raised will be referred to the city manager for review. Members of the public shall limit their remarks to 3 minutes. Is there anybody on the phone that wishes to speak?
Hi, this is for anyone on teleconferencing who would like to speak regarding oral communications. This is the time for you to speak. Hello?
No one there?
If you have a caller still on the line.
No. Okay, with no response, I look for a motion to adjourn. Second. So moved. Thank-